The signs are always there for those who have the eyes to see. When the moment of fulfillment draws near, when the unseen is about to become seen, life begins to shift in ways that seem both mysterious and inevitable. You are not a beggar waiting for mercy. You are the operant power, the divine creator awakening to the truth of your own being. And so when the tide begins to turn, when the unseen forces are arranging themselves in your favor, you will notice, first there is the inner stirring, the sense that something is happening beyond what the eyes can perceive. It may come as an uneasiness, a quiet restlessness, as though the world you have known no longer fits. This is the breaking of the old shell, the signal that you are expanding beyond what you once accepted as reality. It is the divine calling you to prepare for what is coming. Then circumstances begin to rearrange themselves. Things that once seemed secure may crumble, paths that once seemed clear may vanish. Do not fear these moments of transition. What appears to be loss is merely the clearing of space for something greater. The old must fall away so the new may emerge. If doors close, it is not to punish you, but to redirect you to where you truly belong. The third sign is the heightened power of your imagination. Your visions become more vivid, your desires more pronounced, as if life itself is urging you to see with new eyes. You find yourself drawn to the unseen reality with an intensity that cannot be ignored. This is no accident. What you persistently imagine, you are summoning into form. Do not doubt it. You are being prepared to receive what you have long held in mind. There is also the unexpected appearance of tests. Opportunities to prove that you have outgrown the old patterns. Challenges arise not to break you, but to confirm your readiness. Will you react as you once did, or will you move with faith, knowing that all things work together for your good? These trials are not roadblocks. They are signs that the breakthrough is near. And then there is the feeling of detachment, a quiet trust that no longer seeks validation. You find yourself no longer desperate for the manifestation, no longer worried about the how or when. This surrender is not weakness. It is the final proof that you have aligned with the reality of your blessing. You no longer chase, for you know it is already yours. Synchronicities begin to appear, whispers of alignment, signs and symbols in the world around you. People you meet, words you hear, unexpected messages, all serving as confirmations that you are in harmony with the unseen forces moving on your behalf. These are not coincidences. They are echoes of the reality being formed in your favor. And finally, you begin to feel gratitude before the evidence appears. Without seeing, without touching, you give thanks, knowing it is already done. This is the ultimate sign, the mark of one who truly understands their creative power. When gratitude fills your heart before the blessing is seen, the unseen must become seen. It is law. You are being prepared, not through struggle, but through transformation. Stay awake, stay aware. The blessing is not coming, it is already here. The path to receiving what is already yours is not about waiting, but about alignment. You are not here to plead with life, nor to hope that fate grants you favor. You are the divine in motion, and all things move in accordance with your inner world. To be prepared for a blessing is not to be found worthy in the eyes of an external force. It is to recognize that you have always been worthy and to step fully into the state of the one who already possesses it. Doubt is the great barrier that separates man from his blessing. Yet even doubt itself is a sign that you are near. It arises not because your desires are impossible, but because they are within reach, pressing against the walls of your old reality. The mind, accustomed to limitation, seeks to pull you back to the familiar, whispering fears of unworthiness, telling you that what you seek is too grand, too distant, too uncertain. Do not mistake this for failure. The very presence of doubt is the final resistance before the breakthrough. It is not an indication to retreat, but to press forward, to step into the certainty that what is seen with the inner eye must materialize in the outer world. Your emotions too begin to shift in ways you may not fully understand. At times, joy will rise within you for no apparent reason. You may feel a sense of ease, as if a great weight has been lifted, as if something within you knows that the waiting has ended, even before your eyes confirm it. And then, at other moments, you may feel sorrow, the release of old patterns, the shedding of a former self. You may feel inexplicably tired, as though you were in the final stretch of a long journey. This is the transition, the moment when the old and the new exist simultaneously. It is the cracking of the chrysalis before the butterfly emerges. Do not resist these emotions. Allow them. They are part of the process, part of the divine preparation. You will notice that people and situations begin to shift around you. Some will be drawn closer, while others will fade away. Not everyone can accompany you into your new reality, and those who no longer align with your emerging self will naturally drift. This too is not loss but preparation. There is no need for anger or attachment. What departs is only making way for what belongs. Do not attempt to hold on to relationships, habits, or circumstances that no longer resonate. If something is removed from your life, trust that it was never truly a part of your path forward. Let go with grace, and you will find that what is meant for you arrives with ease. Opportunities will appear, sometimes in unexpected forms. What you have long desired may not come in the way you imagined, but it will come in the way that is best suited for you. The mind often holds rigid expectations of how blessings should arrive, yet the divine knows no such limitations. You may be guided towards something different, something beyond what you conceived, yet infinitely greater. Do not resist the unfamiliar. Do not reject what does not match your limited expectations. Your vision may have been small, but what is being prepared for you is vast. Trust that the doors opening before you lead to something beyond your greatest imagining. There will be moments of silence where nothing appears to be happening, where the world seems unchanged. This too is a sign. It is the quiet before the unveiling, the space between the asking and the receiving. The unseen is at work in ways beyond your perception. Seeds do not sprout the moment they are planted. The soil must first do its hidden work, and the roots must take hold beneath the surface before the first shoot emerges. Many abandon their blessing in this stage, believing that because they do not yet see it, it is not coming. They uproot their own manifestation through doubt, through impatience. But those who understand the nature of reality remain still, unwavering, knowing that the silence is not emptiness, but preparation. What is yours is already moving toward you. It is only your task to remain steadfast in your knowing. And then you begin to act differently. You speak with a quiet confidence, not seeking proof but resting in assurance. You make choices as the one who already possesses the blessing, rather than the one who hopes to receive it. You cease to look for signs because you are the sign. You embody the energy of the fulfilled desire, and the world, bound by law, must reflect it back to you. This shift is the final proof that you are in harmony with what is coming. There is no more desperation, no more questioning. There is only the calm certainty of the one who knows that what has been decreed within must become visible without. Even time itself begins to feel different. The urgency fades, and you find yourself no longer fixated on the when or how. You realize that time is not a barrier, that what is meant for you is already accomplished in the unseen. The moment you assumed its reality in your mind, it was done. What follows is simply the natural unfolding. When a tree is planted, it does not question when it will bear fruit. It simply grows, certain of its purpose, knowing that the season of harvest will come as surely as the sun rises. This is the way of the one who understands creation. Not through effort, not through striving, but through the quiet acceptance that what is unseen is no less real than what is seen. As you move deeper into this awareness, gratitude becomes your natural state. You do not wait for evidence to give thanks. You rejoice now, knowing that what is yours cannot be taken from you. The mind conditioned to lack waits for proof before it believes. But the awakened mind believes first, and in doing so calls forth the proof. Gratitude before the manifestation is the final seal, the ultimate signal that you are prepared to receive. It is not a trick, not a technique, but the truest expression of faith. To give thanks before the blessing arrives is to acknowledge that it has already been given, and in that acknowledgement, it must reveal itself. The final transformation is subtle yet profound. You cease to see blessings as something separate from yourself. You no longer view life as something happening to you, but as something emerging from within you. The external world is no longer your master. It is your mirror. What once seemed miraculous now feels natural, inevitable. You no longer chase, you no longer strive, because you have become the very thing you once sought. The blessing was never outside of you. It was always a reflection of the self you chose to embody. The preparation is complete when you realize that there was never anything to wait for. The blessing was never about an external event, never about something being given to you. It was always about you awakening to the truth of who you are. The moment you accept it fully, the world has no choice but to conform. This is law. This is the nature of reality. What is seen is always born from what is believed. And when the belief is firm, when the knowing is unshakable, the blessing can do nothing but appear. It is already done. The great secret is that there is no separation between you and your blessing. The very desire that arises within you is the whisper of the unseen, calling you to recognize what is already yours. If it were not possible, it would not have been conceived in your heart. If it were not meant for you, it would not persist in your mind. The longing itself is the proof of its reality. You are not waiting for it to come. You are aligning yourself with the version of you that already possesses it. There is a great misunderstanding in the world, the belief that one must struggle, must prove oneself worthy, must suffer before receiving what is good. But this is not truth, this is conditioning. The divine does not withhold, nor does it bargain. It simply is, and it responds only to your assumption. The moment you accept that you already are what you seek, life must shift to reflect it. The delay is never external. It is only the time it takes for you to remove doubt, to dissolve resistance, to step fully into the knowing that the blessing is not coming, it is here. Every great transformation begins within. Long before the eyes can see it, long before the hands can touch it, the shift happens in the unseen realm of thought and imagination. You will notice that your inner dialogue begins to change. The words you speak to yourself no longer carry desperation but certainty. You no longer ask when it will come, for you know it is already on its way. You no longer wonder if you are deserving, for you recognize that there was never a question of worthiness. You were always enough. The delay was never in being chosen, but in choosing yourself. People may not understand this change in you. They may question why you no longer react as you once did, why you no longer speak of lack, of delay, of uncertainty. They may not see the shift that has taken place within, but they will soon witness the results. The world does not recognize the planting of a seed, only the harvest. But you, the one who knows the process, do not need their validation. You are no longer moved by appearances, no longer shaken by the illusion of time. The unseen is more real to you than what is momentarily absent from the physical world. It is in this state that you begin to move differently. You make decisions as the one who already has what you seek, not as the one hoping to receive it. You carry yourself with assurance, not arrogance, for you do not need to convince anyone. The certainty within you is enough. Your actions align with the knowing, not with the doubt. You no longer speak of the blessing as something in the future, but as something that is unfolding now. You understand that each moment is a step closer, not because the blessing is traveling toward you, but because you are rising to meet it. Your energy changes, and the world cannot help but respond. The places where you once encountered resistance begin to open. The people who once overlooked you begin to take notice. Opportunities that seemed out of reach now present themselves effortlessly. What was once delayed now arrives with speed. This is not luck, this is not coincidence, this is the result of the shift within. The world is simply a mirror, reflecting back to you the state in which you now dwell. The past no longer holds power over you. There is no longer a need to replay old disappointments, to revisit past failures. You no longer define yourself by what was, but by what is becoming. You release the weight of what did not work, for you understand that it was never truly lost, it was only misaligned. What is meant for you has never been taken, it has only been waiting for you to reach the version of yourself who can receive it. And now you are that version. Now you are ready. Time itself begins to lose its grip on you. The mind that was once consumed with when and how is now at peace. You do not rush, for you know that nothing can be late. You do not chase, for you know that nothing is outside of you. You do not fear, for you know that nothing can be withheld. There is only perfect timing, only divine orchestration. The moment you step into this knowing, you step into ease. The struggle ceases, the effort fades. You realize that all along the only work required was to believe. And then there comes a moment where you simply know. There is no grand announcement, no dramatic sign, just a quiet, unshakable certainty. It is done. There is no longer any question, no longer any resistance. The need to ask, to seek, to wonder disappears. You feel as though the blessing has already arrived, though your eyes have yet to see it. And in that moment, the final shift occurs. The blessing must now make itself known in the physical world. It has no choice, for you have removed every obstacle, every doubt, every contradiction. You have become the one who has, rather than the one who wants. It may come in a whisper, in an unexpected phone call, in a sudden opportunity, in a chance encounter. It may appear subtly at first, but you will recognize it. And when it does, it will not feel like a surprise, but like a remembering, like something that was always yours, simply waiting for you to claim it. Others may call it a miracle, may marvel at the sudden change, may wonder how it happened so quickly. But you will know that it was never sudden, never random. It was unfolding all along, moving in perfect alignment with the moment you decided it was already yours. You were never waiting for the blessing was waiting for you. And now you are ready. There is nothing left to question, nothing left to seek. The shift has already occurred within you, and now the world around you must follow. You are not subject to chance, nor are you at the mercy of external forces. You are the cause, the center from which all things emerge. And as you stand in this knowing, as you walk as the one who already has, life bends to accommodate you. There is a deep peace that comes with this understanding, a stillness that others may not comprehend. They may wonder why you no longer react as you once did, why you no longer worry, why you seem untouched by the fluctuations of the world. It is because you have seen beyond appearances. You have stepped out of the illusion of lack, the illusion of delay, and now reside in a state where all things are already yours. To the world it may look as if nothing has changed, but you know better. The change has already happened where it matters most, and now it is simply unfolding in the physical. There is a great temptation in these moments to look for signs, to seek confirmation that what you know to be true is taking shape. But you resist this urge, because you understand that the need for proof is a remnant of the old self, the self that doubted, that questioned, that needed reassurance. That self no longer exists. Now you walk with quiet confidence, knowing that signs are not necessary. The only sign you need is the conviction within you. And because you do not seek signs, signs appear. Because you do not need reassurance, life constantly reassures you. But you smile, for you knew it all along. There will be moments where you feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude, not because you have seen the blessing arrive, but because you know it has already arrived in the unseen. You find yourself giving thanks not for what is coming, but for what is. This gratitude is not a tool, not a method. It is simply the natural response of the one who understands. You are grateful because you know you are already in possession of all that you desire. And in this state of gratitude, the floodgates open. What was once unseen now becomes visible. What was once delayed now arrives effortlessly. You are not surprised when it happens, for you have been expecting it all along. You notice that your words carry a new power. When you speak, it is not idle conversation, but a declaration of what is. You no longer speak of what you lack, nor of what you hope for. You only affirm what is already yours. And because you no longer speak words of lack, lack dissolves. Because you no longer speak words of waiting, waiting ceases. Every word is a seed, and now you plant only those that bear fruit. The world around you shifts, though not always in ways that others may notice. You see it in small things, a door opening that once seemed closed, an opportunity that arises effortlessly, an unexpected encounter that aligns perfectly with your desires. These are not coincidences. They are the natural unfolding of what you have already assumed to be true. You are no longer surprised by these moments. You simply nod in recognition. This is how it works. This is how it has always worked. Even the things that once troubled you no longer hold the same power. Where you once would have felt frustration, you now feel indifference. Where you once would have reacted with worry, you now respond with assurance. You see setbacks as illusions, delays as nothing more than a shifting of pieces, moving you into even greater alignment with what is yours. You no longer fear losing anything because you know that nothing can be lost. What belongs to you is inseparable from you. There is no force that can take it away, no power that can withhold it. What is yours, always. There is a newfound lightness in the way you move. You do not carry the weight of needing to make things happen, of needing to control the outcome. You understand now that the greatest power is in knowing it is already done. You are not the one struggling to create. You are the one allowing what has already been created to flow to you. And because you no longer resist, because you no longer strain, everything comes effortlessly. What once seemed difficult is now easy. What once felt far away is now near. You begin to feel a sense of detachment, not from your desires, but from the need for them to manifest in a certain way or at a certain time. You no longer check, no longer question. You simply live in the end, knowing that it must unfold in the perfect way, in the perfect moment. And because you have let go of the need, it arrives with speed. The paradox is clear. When you needed it, it remained distant. When you released the need, it rushed to you. Others begin to notice the change in you. They see the ease with which things come to you, the way in which you carry yourself. Some may ask what you are doing differently, why things seem to work in your favor, but you know there is no secret, no external method. It is simply the law in motion, the natural consequence of stepping into the state of already having. You do not try to convince them, for you know that each must come to this understanding in their own time. You simply live as proof. There is a moment where you realize that the old version of you is gone completely. The one who doubted, who hesitated, who waited, that self no longer exists. You have become the embodiment of the wish fulfilled, the living expression of the reality you once only dreamed of. And now, the dream is no longer separate from you. It is you. And as you step forward, as you continue to live from this place of knowing, there is no longer a question of whether or not you are ready. You have been ready all along. The blessing was never about something external changing. It was always about you changing. It was never about waiting for something to be given. It was about realizing it was never separate from you to begin with. And now there is nothing left to do but to receive, not as one who is waiting, not as one who is hoping, but as one who has always known the truth. It is done. It has always been done. You are simply awakening to what has always been yours. You are not moving toward your blessing. It is already here, already present, waiting for you to see it. The only journey has been within. The only transformation necessary was the shift in your awareness. You have not been preparing to receive something distant, something external. You have been awakening to what was always yours. The veil of doubt has lifted, and now you see clearly. The moment you accepted that you already have it, the world had no choice but to comply. You walk differently now, not as one who is seeking, but as one who has found. There is no more anxious striving, no more questioning if it will happen. The need to ask has dissolved, because you know the answer has already been given. It was never a question of if, only of when, and even time has now lost its grip on you. You understand that everything arrives in its perfect moment, not because it is being decided by some force outside of you, but because it has already been set into motion the instant you assumed it as real. You no longer react to the world as you once did. Situations that would have once shaken you now seem insignificant. People who once doubted you, who once questioned your path, no longer have an effect on you. You do not seek their approval, for you have approved of yourself. You do not look for their confirmation, for you no longer need it. The world is a reflection, and now that you have changed within, the world must mirror it. Opportunities appear, doors open without effort, not because you chase them, not because you struggled, but because you became the version of you that already had them. They were always there, waiting for you to align with them. Now they unfold naturally, effortlessly, as if they had been destined all along. But you know better. There is no destiny outside of what you decree. There is no fate beyond what you assume to be true. You see now that nothing was ever working against you. Every delay, every obstacle, every seeming failure was only preparing you, molding you into the one who could receive, not because you needed to earn it, but because you needed to become aware of it. The process was never about struggle. It was about shedding the layers of doubt, of fear, of limitation that had been placed upon you. And now those layers are gone. You stand as you were always meant to be, whole, complete, in perfect alignment with all that is yours. There is no more resistance within you. You no longer fight against circumstances, no longer push against what is. You flow, knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. What once seemed like obstacles are now stepping stones. What once felt like delays are now divine timing. You do not rush, for you know that what is truly yours can never be taken, never be missed. It has already been written into the fabric of your reality. People begin to take notice. They see the way life seems to unfold for you, the way things align with ease. Some may call it luck, some may call it coincidence, but you know it is neither. It is law. It is the result of a mind that has finally accepted its own power. You have become magnetic, not by force, but by presence. You attract not by chasing, but by being. You have stepped into the state of the fulfilled wish, and now everything must arrange itself to reflect that. Even your desires begin to evolve. Where once you may have longed for things outside of yourself, now you understand that all things emerge from within. You no longer seek out of lack, but out of expression. You do not desire in desperation, but in joy. You no longer ask, when will it come, but instead say, it is already mine, and the world, bound by law, responds accordingly. You realize that nothing is truly separate from you. The love you seek, the success you envision, the joy you crave, it is not something you must earn, not something that exists outside of you, but something you are. The world is only ever reflecting what you assume yourself to be. And now that you have assumed your highest state, the world has no choice but to confirm it. There is no force more powerful than the one who knows, beyond all doubt, that they already possess what they once sought. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstances. You have become the creator of them. Everything responds to you, not because you are wishing or hoping, but because you have fully embraced the truth that creation is finished, and you are merely witnessing the unfolding of what has already been set in motion. Each day feels different now. There is no longer a sense of waiting, no more longing for something to appear. You wake up knowing that it is already done, and this knowing carries you through the day with an ease that others may not understand. Where there was once worry, there is now peace. Where there was once hesitation, there is now certainty. You have seen beyond the illusion of lack, beyond the illusion of separation, and you move through life with a quiet power, a deep assurance that everything is working in your favor. Even when challenges arise, you do not react as you once did. You understand now that nothing is truly an obstacle. Everything is a bridge, leading you exactly where you need to go. What once seemed like setbacks, you now recognize as redirections, guiding you towards something even greater. You do not fight against these moments, you embrace them, knowing that everything is unfolding perfectly, that nothing is ever truly lost. You trust the process because you have come to realize that the process itself is proof that your blessing is on its way. Others may question how you have changed, why you no longer seem to struggle, why things seem to flow to you so naturally. But you do not need to explain. You simply live as an example. You radiate a quiet confidence, not because you have forced anything to happen, but because you have aligned yourself with the truth. You no longer convince anyone of what you know to be real, because the evidence will speak for itself. And when they ask how you have done it, when they wonder what has shifted, you will smile, for you know the secret. It was never about effort. It was never about proving yourself worthy. It was always about assuming the state of the one who already has. There is no longer a need to check, no need to seek confirmation. You do not look for signs because you are the sign. The need to monitor, to question, to doubt, it is gone. You walk as if you already possess the very thing you once desired, and because you do, it must manifest. Not because you forced it, but because it is law. You have become so certain of the reality of your blessing that the physical world must obey. It has no other choice. It is simply responding to the unwavering state you now dwell in. Time no longer concerns you. The old self, the one who worried about when, has vanished. You do not rush the process, for you understand that there is no delay. You have released the illusion of time as a barrier, for you know that all things are present now. There is no future moment where your blessing will arrive. It is already here. And as you embody this truth, time bends, speeding up in ways that defy logic. What once felt distant now arrives quickly, effortlessly, naturally. You begin to notice that even the small things align. A conversation you needed to hear, a meeting that happens at the perfect moment, a door that opens in a way you never expected. These are not accidents, these are confirmations. Every step you take now feels divinely orchestrated, not because anything external has changed, but because you have changed. You have stepped into the version of yourself who is ready to receive, and the universe responds in kind. Your thoughts have shifted completely. You no longer entertain ideas of lack, of waiting, of hoping. The internal dialogue has changed. Instead of asking, when will it happen, you say, it is happening now. Instead of thinking, I need this, you say, I have this. Every word, every thought, every assumption now aligns with the truth of your fulfillment. And because your inner world has transformed, the outer world must follow. You feel a deep connection to everything around you, a sense of harmony with life itself. There is no separation between you and the things you desire. You understand now that you were never chasing anything. Everything has been within you all along. And as you live from this state of abundance, more and more flows to you, not because you are seeking it, but because you have become the one who already possesses it. There is nothing left to do, nothing left to force. The work was never external, it was always within. And now the inner work is complete. You no longer wait because there is nothing to wait for. You no longer hope because you already have. The shift is total, the transformation complete, and now you simply allow. As you walk forward, you do so with an effortless certainty, a quiet joy that cannot be shaken. You do not seek evidence because you know it is already done. You do not question because the answer has always been clear. The blessing was never far, it was always here, waiting for you to recognize it. And now that you have, the world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. It is done, it has always been done, and now you receive. And so you stand now in the fullness of your being, no longer waiting, no longer searching, but knowing. There is no separation between you and your blessing. There never was. The journey was never about attaining something outside of yourself. It was always about awakening to what was already yours. You have shed the doubts, released the need, and stepped fully into the state of one who has. And because you have done this, life has no choice but to mirror it back to you. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstances, no longer bound by the illusions of time, of struggle, of waiting. You are the creator, the operant power, the force that sets reality into motion. And now as you walk forward, you do so with certainty, with ease, with the quiet joy of one who has always known the truth. You do not waver, for you have seen beyond appearances. You do not chase, for you understand that what is yours will always find you. You simply allow, and in that allowing, all things flow effortlessly to you. The blessing is not coming, it is already here. The moment you accepted it as real, it was done. And now, as the world aligns to reflect your inner transformation, you smile, knowing that this was never about chance, never about luck, but about law. The same law that has always been in motion, the same truth that has always been waiting for you to recognize it. And now that you have, there is nothing left to do but receive. It is done. It has always been done. And now you live in the reality of the fulfilled wish, forever knowing that you were never separate from it to begin with. There comes a time in life when you find yourself walking a road that seems lonely, a path where familiar faces fade and the world you once knew feels distant. You wonder why relationships crumble, why the people you once trusted slip away, and why silence becomes your closest companion. But what if this solitude is not a punishment, but a divine invitation? What if God is setting you apart, not to break you, but to awaken something within you that only isolation can reveal? Every great transformation begins with separation. The seed must be buried in darkness before it can break open and reach for the light. The caterpillar must be wrapped in stillness before it can take flight. And so it is with you. God calls you into solitude because there are things He must whisper to your soul that the noise of the world would drown out. He removes the distractions, the opinions, the expectations, and even the comfort so that you may come face to face with your own divinity. When everything around you is stripped away, you begin to see clearly. You recognize that your strength was never in the crowd, but in the one who breathed life into you. You discover that your worth was never in validation, but in the truth that you were chosen before the foundation of the world. You realize that what you thought was loneliness was actually alignment, a sacred preparation for the destiny that awaits you. God isolates His chosen ones because He has called them to something greater. You cannot carry the weight of divine purpose while clinging to the things that no longer serve you. You cannot step into new blessings while holding on to old attachments. So He removes, He refines, He resets. The people who walked away were not meant to stay. The opportunities that slipped through your fingers were not meant to hold. The places you outgrew were not meant to contain you. If you feel alone, understand that you are not abandoned. You are being elevated. This is the moment where you must trust, not in what you see, but in the unseen hand that is guiding you. The stillness is not emptiness. It is an open space where God can pour into you without interference. The silence is not rejection. It is an invitation to hear Him more clearly. You were never meant to fit in because you were created to stand out. You were never meant to walk with the crowd because you were destined to lead. And if the journey feels lonely, it is only because God is calling you higher. Let this solitude mold you, strengthen you, and prepare you. Because when the time comes, you will not return as the person you once were. You will rise as the person you were always meant to be. There is a deep mystery in being set apart, one that the world does not understand. It is easy to believe that solitude is a sign of rejection, that isolation means something has gone wrong. But in the divine order of things, to be set apart is to be prepared, and to be alone is to be strengthened. If you find yourself in a season where doors have closed, where people have walked away, where familiar comforts no longer satisfy, then you must understand this. God has removed you from the noise so that He may speak to you in the silence. You were not created to blend in with the world. You were not designed to follow the patterns of those around you. You are different, chosen, called for something greater than the ordinary rhythm of life. And when God calls someone into their true purpose, He often begins by stripping away everything they thought they needed. He takes away the things that were never truly theirs to keep. He removes the relationships that would have hindered their growth. He separates them from distractions, from false security, from the need for approval, because only in this sacred solitude can the truth of who you are be fully revealed. The discomfort of isolation is not meant to break you, but to refine you. When God removes everything familiar, He is asking you to trust in something greater than what your eyes can see. The foundation of your life is being rebuilt, your mind is being renewed, your spirit is being prepared for what is coming. And though it may feel painful, though it may feel as if you are wandering without direction, know this: nothing is being taken away that will not be replaced with something far greater. Look at the lives of those who were used mightily by God, and you will see a pattern. Every great leader, every great teacher, every great visionary was first called into isolation. Moses was set apart in the wilderness before he could lead. Joseph was betrayed and imprisoned before he could rule. David was anointed but had to endure years of solitude before he could wear the crown. Even Jesus Himself withdrew into the wilderness before stepping fully into His divine purpose. Why? Because there are lessons that can only be learned in solitude. There is strength that can only be gained in stillness. There is a voice that can only be heard in silence. You have been called into this season not to suffer, but to transform. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. You are not being abandoned, you are being positioned. And though your mind may seek answers, though your heart may long for understanding, faith will teach you that the answers do not come from the world, but from within. The solitude is not meant to weaken you, it is meant to awaken you. It is a divine reset, an invitation to step into a new reality, one where you no longer rely on what is external, but on the infinite power that has always been within you. In this season you must release the need for validation. You must let go of the illusion that you need people to complete you. You must surrender the idea that you are missing something, because the truth is, nothing has been lost. What is truly yours can never be taken from you. The people meant to walk with you will return in divine timing. The doors that need to open will do so effortlessly. But first you must come to know yourself without all the external distractions. You must stand in your own presence, unshaken by the absence of others, unwavering in your faith that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Solitude is a mirror. It reveals what is hidden. It strips away the masks. It forces you to face the parts of yourself that have been neglected, the wounds that have been ignored, the fears that have been buried. And it is in this sacred unveiling that true healing begins, because when everything external is removed, you are left with the only thing that ever truly mattered: your connection to the divine. This is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of something far greater than you can comprehend. Every great transformation requires a period of isolation. Every masterpiece begins in the unseen. Every destiny is first shaped in the quiet places before it is revealed to the world. And so if you find yourself alone, do not despair, do not resist, do not seek to escape the silence. Instead, embrace it. Dive into it. Listen to the whispers of your soul, for in this stillness, in this sacred solitude, you will find the very thing you have been searching for all along. You will come to see that you were never truly alone. You were never abandoned, never forsaken. The presence of God has been with you all along, guiding you, shaping you, preparing you. And when the time comes, when the season of isolation has done its work, you will emerge renewed, transformed, awakened. You will not return as the person you once were. You will return as the person you were always meant to be. And the world will see the light that has been ignited within you, the strength that has been forged in the silence, the power that has been birthed in solitude. For now, trust the process, trust the unfolding, Trust that every moment of isolation is leading you closer to your higher self, to your divine purpose, to the life that has been waiting for you all along. And when the time is right, when the preparation is complete, the doors will open, the right people will come, and everything that is meant for you will be revealed. Until then, stand firm in faith, embrace the silence, and know that you are exactly where you are meant to be. There is a reason why you feel distant from the world, why the people you once held close seem unreachable, why the things that once brought you comfort no longer satisfy your soul. This is not a mistake. This is not a random event. You are being set apart. You are being prepared for something greater than your current reality. It is not rejection, it is elevation. It is not abandonment, it is transformation. God has chosen you for a higher calling, and with that calling comes a necessary season of separation. You cannot step into your destiny while still clinging to the past. You cannot walk in divine purpose while carrying the weight of relationships that no longer align with where you are going. So, the separation comes. The solitude deepens. And in the stillness, you are forced to look within. You are forced to let go of what no longer serves you. You are forced to stand on your own, not because you are meant to be alone forever, but because you must first learn who you are without the distractions of the world. Everything you once relied on is being stripped away so that you may come to know the only thing that truly matters, your connection to the divine. This is where your strength is found. This is where your identity is revealed. This is where you discover that you are not dependent on the approval of others, that you are not defined by what you have lost, that you are not weakened by solitude, but strengthened by it. Do not resist this process. Do not fight against the changes that are unfolding in your life. There is a reason why certain people have walked away. There is a reason why doors have closed. There is a reason why you feel different, why you no longer fit into the spaces you once occupied. You are growing, you are evolving, you are being prepared for something far beyond what you can see. And with that growth comes discomfort. With that evolution comes moments of loneliness. But what you must understand is that this solitude is not emptiness. It is a sacred space where your true power is being revealed. The world will try to convince you that being alone is something to be feared, that silence is something to escape, that you must constantly surround yourself with people in order to be whole. But the truth is, solitude is where your greatest strength is born. It is where you learn to listen, not to the noise of the world, but to the voice of God within you. It is where your mind is renewed, where your faith is tested, where your purpose becomes clear. It is where you realize that you were never truly alone to begin with, that the presence of the divine has been guiding you all along, leading you toward a future far greater than you could have imagined. If you find yourself in a season of isolation, do not allow fear to take hold. Do not allow doubt to cloud your mind. Do not allow loneliness to convince you that you are forgotten. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are being set apart. You are being molded. You are being strengthened in ways you cannot yet understand. What feels like loss is actually alignment. What feels like separation is actually preparation. What feels like the end is actually the beginning of something new. Every great transformation requires a period of stillness. The seed must be buried in the darkness before it can break open and reach for the light. The caterpillar must be wrapped in stillness before it can become the butterfly. And so it is with you. This moment of solitude is not meant to harm you. It is meant to awaken you. It is meant to push you toward the version of yourself that has always been waiting on the other side of fear, doubt, and limitation. This is the season where you must learn to trust. Trust in the unseen, trust in the process. Trust that every closed door is making room for something better. Trust that every loss is clearing the way for something greater. Trust that God has not brought you this far to leave you. That every tear, every unanswered question, every moment of silence is working together for your highest good. You must come to understand that solitude is not a punishment, it is a privilege. It is an opportunity to grow without distraction, to heal without interference, to step into your power without compromise. It is in this space that you will come to see yourself clearly, not as the world defines you, but as God has always seen you. Strong, capable, chosen. You will come to realize that you do not need external validation to know your worth. You do not need constant companionship to feel complete. You do not need the approval of others to walk in confidence. Everything you need has already been placed within you, and it is in this season of solitude that you will learn to access it. Let go of the need to explain your journey to those who do not understand it. Let go of the desire to hold on to relationships that are no longer serving your growth. Let go of the fear that being alone means being forgotten. You are never alone. You are never forgotten. You are exactly where you are meant to be. And when the time is right, when this season of preparation has done its work, everything that is meant for you will come effortlessly. The right people will enter your life, not to fill a void, but to walk alongside you as equals. The right doors will open, not because you forced them to, but because you were ready to walk through them. The right opportunities will appear, not because you chased them, but because you became the person who was ready to receive them. But first, you must embrace this moment. You must accept the silence, the stillness, the solitude. You must trust that what is being removed is making space for something greater. You must believe that every challenge is a lesson, every delay is divine timing, every lonely night is a step closer to the life you were always meant to live. And when this season comes to an end, when you emerge from this period of isolation, you will not be the same person you once were. You will be stronger, wiser, more aligned with your purpose than ever before. You will carry a power within you that cannot be shaken, a peace that cannot be disturbed, a faith that cannot be broken. So stand firm. Hold on to the truth that everything is happening for you, not against you. Know that God is not just taking things away, He is making room for what is truly yours. And when the time comes, you will look back on this season of solitude not with sorrow, but with gratitude. Because you will see that it was in this space of stillness that you found yourself, that you found your strength, that you found God in a way you never had before. And that is worth more than anything you thought you lost. You must begin to see this season not as a time of emptiness, but as a time of fulfillment. What the world calls loneliness, heaven calls preparation. What feels like separation is actually elevation. You are being pulled away from the familiar so that you may step into the extraordinary. You are being removed from the noise so that you may hear the truth. You are being taken out of the crowd so that you may discover the power that lies within you. There is nothing random about this process. Every shift, every loss, every moment of solitude has been divinely orchestrated for your transformation. It may not make sense now. You may not understand why certain people have walked away, why the doors you once relied upon have closed, why you no longer feel connected to the places and things that once gave you comfort. But one day, you will look back and realize that everything happened exactly as it needed to. You will see that nothing was taken from you. Rather, you were being guided towards something far greater than what you could have imagined. Right now, the world may not see you. They may not recognize the changes happening within you. They may not understand why you have pulled away, why you no longer engage in the same conversations, why your desires have shifted. That is because you are being made new. You are being prepared for something higher, something sacred, something beyond the reach of the ordinary. The world will only understand when they see the manifestation of what is being built in this season. Until then, you must trust the process, even when no one else does. The greatest transformations always happen in the unseen. The tree grows its deepest roots in silence, before it ever reaches toward the sky. The diamond is formed in the pressure of darkness before it ever shines in the light. The masterpiece is painted stroke by stroke in solitude before it is ever revealed to the world. And so it is with you. What is happening now, though invisible to the outside world, is shaping you into the person you were destined to be. Every moment of stillness is strengthening you. Every tear is watering the soil of your future. Every loss is making space for something that is meant to stay. This journey is not for everyone. Not everyone will understand why you have been set apart. Not everyone will see the vision God has placed within you. Not everyone will be able to walk with you in this season of transformation, but that is not your concern. You are not called to convince people of your path. You are not called to explain yourself to those who are not meant to understand. You are called to walk in faith, to embrace the solitude, to trust that what is unfolding is leading you to something beyond what you could have planned for yourself. There is no need to fear the silence. There is no need to resist the isolation. This is where you find your true self, where you shed the old identities that no longer serve you, where you break free from the limitations that have kept you bound. You are no longer who you used to be. You are not the same person who needed constant validation, who feared rejection, who sought approval from others. That version of you is being left behind. In this sacred solitude, you are being reborn. You are coming into alignment with who you truly are, not who the world told you to be. There is a shift happening within you, a shift that will change everything. Your mind is being renewed, your spirit is being awakened, your purpose is being revealed. And though it may feel like you are in the wilderness now, know that every step is leading you closer to the promise. What is waiting for you on the other side of this season will make every moment of isolation worth it. The doors that will open, the people that will come, the opportunities that will unfold. Everything will align in divine timing. But first, you must be patient. You must allow the process to unfold without resistance. You must trust that even in the silence, God is working. Even in the stillness, things are shifting. Even when it seems like nothing is happening, everything is happening beneath the surface. You are growing in ways that cannot yet be seen. You are being prepared for a life that you cannot yet imagine. And when the time is right, when the foundation has been laid, when you have fully stepped into the strength of who you are, everything that is meant for you will come effortlessly. There is nothing to fear, there is nothing to doubt. You are not lost, you are being guided. You are not forgotten, you are being protected. You are not alone, you are being held. And when this season has done its work, when you emerge from this sacred solitude, you will not just return as the person you once were, you will return transformed. You will return empowered. You will return as the person you were always destined to be. You must begin to embrace the silence, for it is not an emptiness, but a space filled with divine intention. Every moment of solitude is carving out within you a new depth of understanding, a new level of faith, a new awareness of your own power. The world may not see what is happening inside of you, but that does not mean the transformation is not real. It is happening beneath the surface, like roots growing deep into the earth before the tree ever appears. There is a breaking that must take place before the breakthrough. The breaking of old patterns, old mindsets, old attachments that have kept you from stepping into your highest self. This breaking is not meant to harm you, but to free you. The attachments that once defined you are dissolving so that you may stand fully in the truth of who you are. You are learning that you are not dependent on anything external for your strength. You are not dependent on the approval of others. You are not defined by relationships that have ended. You are not weakened by loss. You are strengthened by it. It is in this season of separation that you will come to realize what truly matters. You will see how much time you spent chasing after things that were never meant to last. You will recognize the illusions that kept you bound, the fears that kept you small, the distractions that kept you from walking fully in your divine purpose. And once your eyes have been opened, you will never again settle for anything less than what is truly meant for you. Let go of the need to understand everything in this moment. Let go of the need to see the full picture. Your human mind may not yet grasp the divine orchestration that is at work in your life, but that does not mean it is not happening. Trust the process. Trust that the pain has a purpose. Trust that the delays are divine. Trust that what feels like an ending is actually a beginning. Every great leader, every great visionary, every person who has ever stepped into their highest calling has walked through a season of isolation. Moses was alone in the wilderness before leading his people to freedom. Joseph was betrayed and cast into prison before rising to a position of power. Jesus withdrew to the mountains to pray before performing miracles. The pattern is clear. Before elevation, there is separation. Before the promise is fulfilled, there is a period of preparation. Before destiny unfolds, there is a necessary refining. This is the refining season. This is where everything that is not truly you is stripped away. This is where your strength is tested, where your faith is made unshakable, where your heart is purified from everything that is not aligned with your divine purpose. Do not despise this process. Do not resist it. What is being built within you in this season will be the foundation for everything that is to come. You must be willing to release the past in order to receive the future. You must be willing to step into the unknown, to walk forward even when you cannot yet see the path. This is what faith requires. This is what transformation demands. You cannot hold on to what was and step fully into what is meant to be. You cannot carry the weight of yesterday into the promise of tomorrow. There is something greater waiting for you on the other side of this season. There is a life beyond anything you have imagined, a future so beautiful, so aligned, so abundant, that if you could see it now, you would not question a single thing that is happening in your life. You would not fear the solitude, you would not resist the changes, you would not grieve what has left, because you would know, without a doubt, that everything is happening exactly as it should. The people who walked away were not meant to stay. The doors that closed were not the right ones. The silence is not abandonment. It is an invitation to go deeper, deeper into your purpose, deeper into your faith, deeper into your divine connection. This is not the time to shrink back in fear. This is the time to rise. This is the time to trust. This is the time to fully surrender to the unfolding of something far greater than you can comprehend. There will come a day when you look back on this season with gratitude. There will come a moment when you understand why everything had to happen the way it did. The pain will make sense. The losses will no longer feel like losses. The delays will be revealed as divine protection. And in that moment you will stand in awe of the way it all came together. You will see that you were never alone, never forgotten, never forsaken. You were being prepared, you were being positioned, you were being made ready for the life that was always meant to be yours. So do not resist this solitude, do not fear the silence, do not doubt the journey. You are exactly where you are meant to be, and when this season has fulfilled its purpose, when the time is right, everything that is meant for you will come with ease, with clarity, with certainty. You will no longer question, you will no longer fear, you will simply know, because you will have become the person who was always meant to receive it. Every moment of solitude is an invitation to step deeper into yourself, to listen beyond the noise of the world, to hear the still, small voice that has been calling you all along. You are not here to blend in, to follow the crowd, to move as the world moves. You are here to awaken, to rise, to become something more than what you have been set apart. This is why you have been set apart. This is why the distractions have been removed. This is why certain people could not continue on this journey with you. It is not rejection, it is redirection. It is not punishment, it is preparation. You are being refined in the silence. In the stillness, you are becoming stronger, wiser, more aligned with your divine purpose. You may not see the full picture yet, but something within you knows that you are being guided. You can feel it in the way your desires have changed, in the way your mind has expanded, in the way your heart has learned to let go. What once mattered no longer holds the same weight. What once defined you no longer feels like truth. This is the transformation. This is the shedding of the old so that you may step fully into the new. There is a reason why you no longer fit into certain spaces. There is a reason why conversations that once entertained you now feel empty. There is a reason why you feel the pull to go inward, to be still, to disconnect from the noise. It is because something greater is being revealed to you. You are seeing what most people do not see. You are understanding what most people do not understand. The world will call it loneliness, but heaven calls it consecration. You are being set apart so that you may rise into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. This is not a time to seek validation from others. This is not a time to look for reassurance outside of yourself. No one else can walk this path for you. No one else can see the vision that has been placed within you. No one else can understand the depth of your transformation. And that is okay. You are not meant to be understood by everyone. You are not meant to be accepted by the masses. You are meant to walk in divine alignment, to move with unwavering faith, to trust that what is happening within you is far more important than what is happening around you. Let go of the need to explain yourself. Let go of the need to be seen, to be heard, to be recognized. Your validation does not come from the world. Your worth is not determined by the opinions of others. What is being built within you will speak for itself in time. The shift that is happening inside of you will become so undeniable that the world will have no choice but to take notice. But by then, you will no longer be concerned with their recognition. By then, you will have outgrown the need for approval. By then, you will be so deeply rooted in your truth that nothing outside of you will shake you. This is the power of solitude. This is the gift of being set apart. It is not an easy journey, but it is a necessary one. You cannot carry the weight of your past into the future that is being prepared for you. You cannot cling to what was and still step fully into what is to come. There is a shedding that must take place, a releasing, a surrendering. Only then will you be able to receive what has been waiting for you all along. You may not understand it now, but one day you will. One day you will look back on this season and realize that it was the turning point, the moment everything shifted, the moment you stopped seeking and started knowing, the moment you released fear and stepped fully into faith. And when that day comes, you will see that every moment of solitude was worth it. Every tear, every unanswered question, every silent night, it was all leading you to the life that was always meant for you. So trust this process. Trust that what is being removed is making space for something greater. Trust that what feels like isolation is actually elevation. Trust that you are being prepared, molded, refined into the person you were always destined to be, and when the time is right, when you have become the version of yourself that is ready to receive, everything that is meant for you will come with ease, with clarity, with divine alignment. You will no longer chase, you will no longer question, you will simply know. Because you will have become the person who was always meant to have it. You are being positioned for something that cannot be rushed. The timing of your life is not random. Every shift, every delay, every door that closed was necessary. You are not being punished, you are being perfected. The silence is not emptiness, it is divine alignment. The loneliness is not abandonment, it is a sacred invitation to discover the fullness of your own being. There are things you must learn in the quiet, lessons that cannot be taught in the presence of distraction. You are being refined, redefined, and made whole in a way that will make sense only in hindsight. The world would have you believe that isolation is a curse, that being set apart is something to fear. But this is not a curse. It is a calling. Not everyone is chosen to walk this path. Not everyone is meant to carry the weight of divine purpose. That is why you cannot compare your journey to others. That is why you cannot measure your progress by worldly standards. What is happening in you is beyond what the eyes can see, beyond what the mind can comprehend. You are becoming, and becoming requires separation. It requires distance from what no longer serves you. It requires the breaking away from the old so that the new can emerge. There is a stripping away that must take place before the unveiling. Every illusion that has clouded your vision, every attachment that has weighed you down, every belief that has limited your expansion, it is all being removed. Do not resist this process. Do not cling to what is being released. You are not losing anything of true value. You are being emptied so that you can be filled with something greater. You are being realigned with the highest version of yourself. This is the preparation before the elevation. This is the pruning before the flourishing. This is the fire before the gold. You must come to a place where you no longer fear being alone. You must find comfort in your own presence, strength in your solitude, wisdom in your stillness. Because when the time comes, when the doors open, when the floodgates of blessings pour into your life, you will need to be ready. You will need to be grounded, unwavering, unshaken by the noise of the world. What is being built in you now is not just for this moment. It is for the rest of your life. The lessons you are learning, the strength you are cultivating, the faith you are developing will sustain you through every season that follows. There is no need to force anything. There is no need to chase, to beg, to strive in desperation. What is meant for you will find you when you are ready. And readiness is not about doing more. It is about becoming more. It is about aligning yourself so completely with your divine purpose that when the blessings come, they do not overwhelm you, but instead flow through you with ease. That is why this time alone is sacred. That is why you must embrace it fully. There is a reason why things are happening the way they are. There is a reason why certain doors did not open, why certain people had to leave, why certain plans did not unfold the way you expected. It is all working together for your highest good. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. The unfolding of your destiny is not on anyone else's timeline. It is moving at the perfect pace even when it does not feel like it. Even when you cannot see the progress, trust that it is happening. Even when nothing seems to be changing, know that everything is shifting beneath the surface. Faith is not about seeing, it is about knowing. It is about trusting that what is unseen is more real than what is visible. You are walking a path that not everyone will understand. You are being shaped in ways that cannot be explained. You are being led by a force greater than logic, greater than reason, greater than anything the world can offer, and that is why you must trust this process. That is why you must hold on to your faith, even when nothing makes sense. That is why you must walk forward, even when the path is unclear. Because the moment you let go of fear, the moment you surrender fully to this divine unfolding, everything will begin to fall into place. The doors will open effortlessly, the connections will form naturally, the blessings will flow abundantly. But first, you must become the person who is ready to receive. You must become the vessel that can hold the magnitude of what is coming. You must allow yourself to be emptied of everything that is not aligned with your highest self. And that is what this season of solitude is about. That is why you have been set apart. Not to suffer, not to struggle, but to be prepared, to be strengthened, to be transformed. Because what is coming is bigger than what you have prayed for. What is coming is beyond what you have imagined. What is coming will not just bless you, it will bless generations after you. So embrace this time, honor this process, trust the divine timing of your life. The silence is not an absence, it is a presence. The solitude is not a void, it is a sacred space for becoming. And when the time is right, when you have been refined, when you have become who you were always meant to be, everything that is meant for you will arrive with clarity, with ease, with undeniable certainty. You will not question it. You will not chase it. You will not force it. You will simply step into it, because you will finally be the person who was always meant to have it. And so, as you walk this path of solitude, know that you are not alone. You are being guided, molded, and prepared for something beyond your imagination. The silence is not a sign of abandonment, but an indication of transformation. You are not being forgotten, you are being refined. Every moment of stillness is shaping you into the person who can hold the blessings that are coming. When the time is right, everything will align effortlessly. The people meant for you will find you. The doors meant for you will open. The purpose meant for you will unfold. And when that moment arrives, you will look back and realize that the solitude was never loneliness, it was preparation. The waiting was never wasted, it was elevation. The separation was never rejection, it was elevation. Trust this process. Embrace this season. Walk forward with faith, knowing that everything is working together for your highest good. And when the day comes when everything falls into place, you will not just receive the blessings, you will be ready for them, because you will have become the person who was always meant to have them. My friends, tonight I want to speak to you about something that lies beyond the veil of ordinary perception, something that shapes reality itself. There is a presence, a power moving through the hearts of those who have awakened to it. It is not seen with the eyes, nor grasped with the hands, yet it is the very essence of all that is. When a person is filled with this divine presence, their entire being takes on a new form, and their habits become the footprints of God walking upon the earth. Such a person does not react as the world reacts. They do not respond with fear, anger, or doubt, for they know that the power within them is greater than anything in the world. When others see lack, they see abundance. When others tremble at uncertainty, they stand firm, knowing that all things are working together for good. The world may be in turmoil, but their inner kingdom remains undisturbed, for they know the secret, that the external world is but a shadow cast by the light of their own awareness. They speak with authority, yet their words are not their own. When they declare a thing, it comes to pass, not because they strain or struggle, but because they have learned the sacred art of assuming that which they desire. They do not beg or plead. They know that to desire is to already possess. Their speech is seasoned with grace, and every word carries the creative power of the divine. They do not waste words on idle complaints or trivial concerns, for they understand that their words shape their world, and they will not allow anything but truth and life to flow from their lips. When such a person prays, they do not bow in desperation, nor do they ask as though the answer were separate from them. They enter the secret place, close the door, and see only the reality they wish to bring forth. In that sacred silence, they commune with the infinite, knowing that what they assume as true in that holy moment will solidify in time and space. They have mastered the law not through struggle, but through the effortless acceptance of the truth that all things exist within them. They move through life with an ease that others cannot comprehend. Where others toil and strive, they simply rest in the knowing that all is unfolding as it should. They do not chase opportunities, opportunities chase them. They do not grasp for love, love flows to them effortlessly. They do not fear the future, for they know that creation is finished and all they must do is align with the highest version of themselves. Such a person does not seek to control others, nor do they judge by appearances. They see beyond what is and into what can be. They look at the sinner and see the saint, at the broken and see the whole. They hold every man and woman in the highest regard, knowing that what they perceive in another, they call forth in themselves. They walk among the lost, but they themselves are never lost, for they are the light of the world. Above all, they love, not as the world loves, with conditions and expectations, but with a love that knows no bounds. They love because they are love, because they understand that to love another is to love the divine within them. They see the face of God in all things, and because they see it, it is revealed. They do not need to be loved in return, for they are already full. Their love is not a need, but a gift, flowing ceaselessly, without demand. This, my friends, is the life of the one who walks with the Holy Spirit. Not by effort, not by striving, but by the simple knowing that they and the Father are one. The one who is filled with the Holy Spirit walks as if the entire universe conspires in their favor, for indeed it does. They are not bound by the limitations of the world, nor do they accept lack, sickness, or despair as permanent realities. They have been given dominion, not over others, but over their own mind, their own perception, and in mastering these, they master life itself. They understand that all power is in consciousness. They do not look outward for salvation, for they know that the kingdom of heaven is within. While the world searches for signs, for proof, for validation, they quietly go within, assuming the reality they desire, and then rest in the certainty that it is done. The world may call it faith, but they know it to be law, an eternal principle that does not fail. They walk with a confidence that is not arrogance, but divine assurance. This confidence is not in their personal strength, but in the knowing that they are one with the source of all things. There is no struggle, no striving to make things happen, only the effortless unfolding of that which they have already accepted in their hearts. To them, miracles are not rare events, but the natural order of life. Healing, abundance, transformation, these are not things they seek, but things they expect, for they understand that to truly believe is to already receive. Where others are tossed by the storms of life, they remain unmoved, for they know that reality is not happening to them, it is happening through them. They do not react to the world, they create the world. If they see discord, they do not engage in battle against it, but rather they turn inward and change the state within. They do not fight against darkness, they simply bring forth light. They do not resist sickness, they assume health. They do not struggle against poverty, they embody abundance. And as they do, the external world reshapes itself to match the inner transformation. This person moves with grace as if guided by an unseen hand, because indeed they are. They do not rush, nor are they anxious about the future, for they know that everything unfolds in divine timing. They trust the process, not because they see every step ahead, but because they know the end from the beginning. Just as the sculptor sees the masterpiece within the stone before a single chip is carved away, they hold the vision of their highest self long before the world reflects it. And because they hold it, it must be so. Their patience is not passive waiting, but a deep knowing that what is theirs cannot be taken, that what is promised cannot be denied. They do not demand signs, for they themselves are the sign. Their very life becomes proof of the unseen reality at work. They need not convince anyone, for the fruits of their faith are evident in the peace they carry, in the joy that radiates from them, in the effortless way blessings seem to flow into their lives. They are never victims, never at the mercy of circumstances. They know that nothing happens to them, only through them. Even in what the world calls misfortune, they find a hidden blessing, for they have trained themselves to see only good. They do not ask, "Why did this happen to me?" but rather, "What is this revealing to me?" And because they ask from a place of wisdom, the answer always comes. They forgive easily, not out of duty or obligation, but because they understand that to hold on to resentment is to imprison themselves. They do not see enemies, only teachers. They know that every person who crosses their path is a reflection of something within, an opportunity to either heal or expand. They do not waste energy on blame, for they know that whatever they focus upon, they give power to. And so, instead of dwelling in anger, they choose love. Instead of reliving the past, they step into the future. They release, and in releasing, they are free. They give freely, not out of lack or duty, but from an understanding that giving and receiving are one. They do not fear loss, for they know that what they send out returns to them multiplied. They do not hoard their blessings, for they live from a place of infinite supply. They are not concerned with how, when, or through whom their needs will be met, only that they will be met, and so they always are. They do not seek approval from the world, for they are already approved by the divine. They are unaffected by praise or criticism, for their sense of self is rooted in something deeper than human opinion. When the world calls them foolish, they remain steady, for they know that wisdom is not always recognized at first glance. They walk a path that few understand, but they do not require understanding from others. They only require alignment within themselves. They love not as the world loves, with conditions, expectations, and demands, but with a love that is pure, unshakable, and complete. They do not love because another has proven themselves worthy. They love because love is their nature. They do not wait for others to change before they love them. They see them already perfected, already whole, already divine, and because they see it, it becomes so. They never speak of what they do not wish to create. They do not dwell on problems, only solutions. They do not entertain fear, for they know that fear is but the illusion of separation. Their mind is a garden, and they tend it carefully, allowing no weeds of doubt or despair to take root. They meditate upon truth, they speak life, they expect goodness, and because they do, their entire world reflects it. They know that nothing is impossible. They have left behind the small, limited thinking of the world and embraced the vastness of the divine within them. When others say, "It cannot be done," they smile, for they know it already is. They do not see obstacles, only stepping stones. They do not see barriers, only opportunities to prove that the unseen is more real than the seen. They walk through life with joy, not because they are blind to suffering, but because they see beyond it. They understand that all things are passing, that what is seen is temporary, but what is within is eternal. They do not cling to the transient, nor do they fear loss, for they know that what is real can never be taken from them. They move in a state of gratitude, not for things alone, but for the very breath they breathe, for the awareness they possess, for the love that fills them. When they enter a room, the atmosphere shifts. Not because they demand attention, but because their presence carries the weight of something greater. People may not understand why, but they feel drawn to them, comforted by them, inspired by them. They are not trying to be special, they simply are. Their being radiates light, and in their presence others begin to believe in something greater than what their eyes can see. They do not fear death, for they know that life is eternal. They do not mourn as the world mourns, but they celebrate the continuity of the soul. They have moved beyond the illusion of separation, knowing that the same spirit that animates them animates all. They live in the awareness that they are not a body, but consciousness itself, moving, expanding, becoming. This is the life of the one who has become a vessel for the Holy Spirit, not by effort, not by striving, but by surrender, by allowing the divine to fully express itself through them. They are not waiting for heaven, they are bringing heaven to earth. They are not seeking miracles, they are the miracle. And because they have realized this truth, they walk in a world transformed. They move through life as if guided by an unseen hand. Yet they do not ask where they are being led, for they trust that every step is already ordered. They do not look outside themselves for confirmation of their path. They walk it boldly, knowing that the voice within them is the voice of the divine. They are not swayed by appearances, nor do they fear uncertainty, for they know that what seems unknown to the world is already known to the spirit that dwells within them. Where others seek security in material things, they find security in the eternal. They do not place their trust in wealth, status, or possessions, for they understand that these are but shadows of a deeper reality. They do not chase after money, for they know that supply flows to them as effortlessly as breath. They do not hoard, for they live in the knowledge that they are always provided for. Their abundance is not in what they hold, but in what they release. They give freely, and in giving they receive more than they could ever imagine. They are never anxious about tomorrow, for they have already declared it good. They do not wake with worry, nor do they sleep in fear. They go about their days with a quiet assurance that all things are working in perfect harmony. They do not complain of delay, for they know that every delay is but preparation for something greater. They trust in the unfolding, knowing that what is theirs cannot be lost. They do not beg or plead, they simply accept, for they understand that the moment they believe, it is already done. They do not resist what is, for they know that resistance only binds them to the very thing they wish to change. They do not fight against darkness, they bring forth light. They do not wage war against the things they do not wish to experience. Instead, they turn their attention fully to what they desire, and by doing so, they call it forth into existence. They understand that what they focus on expands, and so they give no energy to fear, doubt, or limitation. Instead, they dwell only in possibility, in potential, in the certainty that all things are within their grasp. They see the world differently than others do. Where others see chaos, they see divine order. Where others see lack, they see overflowing abundance. They have trained their minds to perceive only the highest, and in doing so, they reshape reality itself. They are not bound by what others call facts, for they know that facts change, but truth remains. And the truth they hold within them is that they are already one with all that they seek. They do not seek validation, for they already know their worth. They do not need the world to recognize them, for they recognize themselves. Their identity is not in titles or achievements, but in their unshakable connection to the divine. They do not need to prove themselves, for they understand that true power is quiet, effortless, undeniable. They walk into a room and shift the atmosphere, not because they demand attention, but because they radiate something beyond the understanding of the world. Their presence is their testimony. They are not ruled by emotions, but neither do they suppress them. They allow themselves to feel, but they do not become enslaved by feeling. They understand that emotions are but indicators of the state they are dwelling in, and so when they feel discord, they do not panic, they simply return to truth. They do not fear sadness, nor do they cling to happiness. They move through life in a state of deep, abiding peace, for their joy is not based on conditions, but on the unshakable reality that they and the Father are one. They do not argue with those who do not understand, for they know that truth does not need to be defended. They do not seek to convince, for they understand that each soul awakens in its own time. They do not become frustrated when others doubt them, nor are they angered by opposition. They remain steady, knowing that what they know is enough. They do not cast their pearls before those who do not yet see, but they love them just the same, understanding that all are on the path, whether they know it or not. They are patient, not because they must be, but because they understand that everything happens at the perfect time. They do not force, nor do they rush, for they know that all things are already accomplished in the unseen. They do not wish for things to be different, for they trust that all is unfolding exactly as it should. They remain in a state of expectancy, knowing that the moment they align with their highest vision, reality must shift to reflect it. They are not burdened by the past, for they know that nothing that has happened before has any power over them now. They do not carry regret, for they understand that every experience has led them to this moment. They do not dwell in memories of failure or loss, for they know that nothing is ever truly lost. They live fully in the now, unshackled by yesterday, unconcerned with tomorrow. They are free. They do not measure their progress by the world's standards, for they are not walking the world's path. They do not seek approval, nor do they require recognition. They are content in the quiet knowing that they are fulfilling their purpose, even if no one else sees it. They move in silence, creating, manifesting, bringing forth beauty from the unseen. And when the world finally takes notice, they are not surprised, for they knew all along that it was already done. They do not cling to relationships that no longer serve them, for they understand that love is not possession. They release with grace, knowing that those who are meant to walk with them will remain, and those who are not will find their own way. They do not grieve what is gone, for they trust in the endless flow of life. They love without attachment, give without expectation, and in doing so they experience the purest form of love. A love that is free, boundless, eternal. They move with purpose, not because they are chasing a dream, but because they are embodying a reality. They do not need to strive, for they already are all that they wish to be. They carry themselves with an ease that others cannot understand, for they are no longer bound by the illusions of limitation. They do not see problems, only solutions. They do not see barriers, only opportunities for faith to be proven true. They live in gratitude, not just for what they have, but for what they know is already theirs. They do not wait to see before they believe. They believe and then they see. Their gratitude is not conditional, for they do not give thanks only when things are going well. They give thanks in all things, knowing that every moment, every experience, every breath is a gift. And because they are grateful, more is always given to them. They do not seek out signs and wonders, for they understand that they themselves are the sign. They do not need miracles to believe, for they know that life itself is the greatest miracle. They do not wait for confirmation, they confirm themselves. They do not look for external proof, they become the proof. They do not need to see the way ahead, for they know that every step is already prepared. They are at peace, not because the world is peaceful, but because they have found peace within. They do not wait for circumstances to be perfect before they feel joy. They bring joy to every circumstance. They are light in darkness, calm in the storm, certainty in the unknown. They do not try to change the world by force, they change it simply by being who they are. This is the life of one who walks with the Holy Spirit. Not a life of striving, but of resting in the knowing that all things are already complete. Not a life of fear, but of faith. Not a life of seeking, but of realizing. They are not waiting for the divine, they are the divine in expression. And because they have embraced this truth, the world itself bends to meet them. They move through life untouched by the illusions that entangle others, for they have seen beyond the veil. They do not live as the world lives, running after fleeting desires, chasing shadows, or fearing loss. Instead, they abide in a place of quiet assurance, knowing that everything they seek is already within them. The tides of circumstance do not shake them, nor do they allow the shifting opinions of men to determine their worth. They have made their dwelling in the presence of the divine, and nothing outside of them holds power over their peace. They do not wake up wondering what the day will bring. They rise, knowing they are the authors of the day. They do not leave things to chance, for they understand that there is no such thing as chance, only consciousness in motion. They determine in the morning what will unfold in the evening, and by the time the world sees it, they have already lived it in the unseen. Their faith is not hope, it is certainty. They do not ask if something will happen, they know it already has, and because they know, the world must conform. They do not hold grudges, nor do they waste energy on past offenses. They understand that to hold resentment is to poison their own spirit, and so they release freely, expecting nothing in return. They forgive not as an obligation, but as a natural outflow of their understanding. They see every person as themselves, pushed out, every event as a reflection of their own state, and in this knowing they take responsibility not for what others do, but for what they create within. They do not blame, for they recognize that all things come through them, not to them. They are never in competition, for they know that there is no scarcity in the divine. They do not compare themselves to others, nor do they envy another's success, for they understand that there is no limit to what can be received. They rejoice in the abundance of others, knowing that it is but a reflection of the abundance that flows to all. They do not grasp or cling, for they have transcended the illusion of lack. They give without fear, love without restraint, and walk in a state of wholeness that cannot be shaken. They are not afraid to stand alone, for they know that they are never truly alone. They do not seek the crowd, nor do they fear solitude. They have found a wellspring within, a source that is ever flowing, and in this they are complete. They are not desperate for companionship, for they attract effortlessly those who are aligned with their spirit. They do not chase after love, for love is who they are, and those who are meant to walk with them will find them naturally, drawn by a force beyond words. They do not fear failure, for they do not believe in failure. To them there is only learning, only growth, only movement toward higher understanding. They do not dwell in self-pity, nor do they see setbacks as punishment. They know that every seeming obstacle is but a stepping stone. every detour a divine redirection. They trust the process, not resisting, not complaining, but flowing with the current of life, knowing that even in what appears to be lost, there is a hidden gift. They do not waste time explaining themselves to those who cannot see. They know that the blind cannot be forced to perceive the light. They must awaken to it in their own time. And so, they do not argue. They do not debate. They do not seek to convince. They live their truth so fully, so completely, that their very presence becomes the evidence of what is possible. They do not seek validation, for they are already validated by the divine within them. They walk in silence when necessary, understanding that wisdom is often found in stillness. They do not need to announce their every move, nor do they seek recognition for their works. They plant seeds with patience, knowing that what is sown in secret will bear fruit in due time. They are not hurried, not anxious, not restless, for they have mastered the art of divine timing. They move only when inspired, speak only when necessary, and trust that what is meant for them will arrive without struggle. They do not let the opinions of others dictate their direction. They do not bow to the expectations of the world, nor do they compromise their truth for acceptance. They are unmoved by praise and unshaken by criticism, for they understand that both are fleeting, both are illusions. They do not live for approval, nor do they seek permission. They follow the inner voice, knowing that this voice is the only true guide. And when the world calls them foolish, they smile, for they know what the world does not yet understand. They do not live for the material, though they lack nothing. They understand that wealth is not measured by what one possesses, but by what one realizes within. They do not chase money, for they know that abundance is a state of being. They do not worry about provision, for they know that all things flow from the unseen, and because they live in this knowing, they attract effortlessly. What others strive for comes to them naturally, not through force, but through alignment. They are kind, but they are not weak. They love, but they do not allow themselves to be used. They serve, but they do not become slaves to the demands of others. They set boundaries with wisdom, understanding that to preserve their own energy is to honor the divine within them. They give from overflow, not depletion. They help where they are led, but they do not sacrifice their peace. They move in balance, knowing that true service comes from a place of strength, not exhaustion. They do not fear opposition, for they understand that light will always be met with resistance. They do not shrink back when challenged, nor do they allow doubt to enter when faced with difficulty. They remain steady, knowing that what is real cannot be threatened. They do not engage in battles that do not serve their purpose, nor do they waste energy on those who seek to provoke. They remain above, observing but not entangled, choosing always the higher path. They do not attach themselves to labels, for they know that identity is beyond words. They are not bound by past mistakes, nor do they cling to old definitions of self. They evolve, they expand, they become. They do not hold on to an image of who they were, for they are constantly renewing, constantly stepping into greater expressions of the divine. They embrace change, knowing that transformation is the nature of life. They do not live with a sense of entitlement, but with a sense of deep appreciation. They are grateful for every moment, every breath, every experience. They do not take for granted the gifts they have been given, nor do they demand more without first honoring what they already have. They see beauty in the small things, joy in the ordinary, and miracles in what others overlook. Their life is one of constant thanksgiving, and in this state of gratitude, they attract more to be grateful for. They do not look to the world for peace, for they have found peace within. They do not wait for circumstances to align before they feel joy, for they have learned that joy is a choice, not a condition. They are not bound by the limitations of logic, nor do they allow fear to dictate their steps. They walk by faith, not by sight, knowing that what they believe will become their reality. And so they believe only in the good, only in the possible, only in the highest vision of what can be. They are not waiting for salvation, for they know they are already saved. They do not seek an external God, for they have realized that the divine is within them. They do not bow to fear, for they have discovered that love is the only truth. They do not live in separation, for they have seen through the illusion. They are one with the infinite, one with the eternal, one with all that is. And because they know this, they walk in a world transformed, untouched by doubt, unmoved by fear, radiant in the fullness of divine presence. And so, my friends, the one who walks with the Holy Spirit is not waiting for the world to change, for they have already changed within. They are not seeking the divine outside of themselves, for they have become the vessel through which the divine expresses. They do not live in hesitation, in doubt, in fear, for they know who they are. They walk in power, in peace, in unwavering certainty, for they have aligned themselves with the eternal truth that creation is finished, and all they must do is step into the reality they have already claimed. They are not separate from the source of life, they are one with it. They do not need permission to become, for they already are. They do not wait for signs, for they are the sign. They do not seek miracles, for they are the living manifestation of the miraculous. They do not waver, for they know that all things must bend to the will of the one who fully believes. They have embraced the truth that heaven is not a distant place, but a state of being. And because they live in this state, they bring heaven wherever they go. They do not wait for the world to recognize them, for the world must eventually conform to the image they hold within. They do not fear what is to come, for they have already declared it good. They walk in faith, in love, in divine authority, knowing that nothing is impossible, for the Spirit within them is the very same power that spoke the universe into existence. This, my friends, is the life of the one who truly walks in the Spirit, not a life of struggle, but of rest, not a life of waiting, but of knowing, not a life of seeking, but of being. And because they have stepped into this reality, the world itself must bow before them, for they have awakened to the greatest truth of all, that they and the Father are one.